All right, you guys, I've got 13 dogs. Let's walk them. This is something I do every single day. I don't always have 13 dogs, sometimes more, sometimes less, but that's where I'm at right now. And I don't skip a walk, not with any of the dogs. The little 5-pound Chihuahua, she's Natalie. She's up for adoption currently. And the Akita is Kuma, she's mine. Natalie was an owner surrender. I don't typically take owner surrenders, but Jesus, she's 5 pounds. She's effortless. Kuma, on the other hand, she was an owner surrender, and she has put 3 people in the hospital. She was extremely dog selective. She just had a bunch of cards stacked against her, and the situation turned out, she had no other options, and I was involved with her training and her rehoming, and so I took her, and she's been a godsend. That little scruffy dog is Joey, and the pit bull is Billy. Joey was a stray I found in Phoenix during one of my dog training appointments. No one ever claimed him. I typically don't keep easy dogs. It's a big rule for myself, but Joey at the time was a helper dog for Kuma. They did really well together. It was short-lived, but I ended up keeping him because he's been a great little helper dog for the little dogs that I bring in. He helps them learn how to be a dog. Billy was a pit bull that was chained up down the street. He has a video here called How to Steal a Dog. And right here, that pressure from that gentle lead, I have the slip lead wrapped like a gentle lead. He's frustrated. He hates it. He usually doesn't get like this. The reason that's happening is because there's a new person and he's really excited about it, which is the guy running the camera, Adam. And Billy's extremely friendly. But I put the gentle lead on him because I just started pack walking him, and it gives me a little bit more control. He is so powerful. And if he gets overexcited and tries to play with the dogs or tries to go to Adam, it just helps me control his entire head. I still have total slack in the leash, and I don't always do the gentle lead. The goal is to get away from that and to be able just to walk and even drop your leash. But for right now, when there's new elements in the picture, like Adam and pack walking, that's what I do. That little munchkin is Diamond, and up behind him is Kevin. Diamond belongs to a gal here locally, beautiful, beautiful woman that currently has found herself homeless. We bumped into each other a couple months ago on the street, just got talking dogs, and she told me she was looking for somebody to help her with her dog because it wasn't fair that he had to sleep outside in the cold weather. And so I told her he could stay with me until she got on her feet. Kevin came from the Carson shelter in LA County. What they do is fucking horrendous, but that's for a different video. He was gonna be euthanized, and an hour before he was about to go, someone reached out and said they could foster to adopt. So I made the call, I went and got him, and on the drive home I realized how insanely food aggressive he was. I couldn't place him like that. I was inexperienced at the time, so I worked as best I could, and I'm just now figuring out how insecure he really is. So we've still got a lot of work ahead of us, and then he started having grand mal seizures, but we're getting there. And this next Romeo coming up, this is my Harrison. He is my pride and joy. Harrison was the first dog I ever trained. People don't hear that when I talk about his aggression, because I've worked with thousands of dogs now, and he to date is the most human aggressive dog I have ever had. But he was the first one. I didn't have a clue what I was doing, and he was so aggressive, no trainers would help me. But today, he's my best dog, and that doesn't mean he can't revert, absolutely, but it's just like being sober. I've been sober now for 2 years. Of course I could drink again, but my disciplines are so strong, you couldn't pay me enough to drink again, and that's what I do with him. I keep his discipline so consistent that making the bad decisions aren't as appealing anymore. That big girl, that's Rosie. She's the reason I started the rescue. She was surrendered to the shelter several years ago. And that little dude right there with the stubby legs, that's Dennis. He was one of the first dogs I ever got. I wanted a puppy, and he was an accidental litter I found on Craigslist. And so I went and got him. And I did everything wrong with that dog. It took me a long time to undo the dumb shit that I did, which was just made him more insecure. Rosie, she was a friend of a friend. I knew of her before she was at the shelter. When I found out she was taken to the shelter, I bolted down there and got her out of there, and that was when I saw what was going on. And those dogs, I can't even talk about it without crying. They needed help, and that was it. It was like, I got to get these guys out of here. I got to make an impact. I have to do something. I can't just bitch about it. These days, I work with street dogs more than shelter dogs. All 3 of these dogs are adoptable. That little one barking up a storm, that's Ralphie. If you didn't see the video posted right before this one, he's the dog in that video. He was the one that was covered with mats, like not even mats, they were pelts. The other one is Ducky. She came from up the street. And then little baby Natalie, you guys have seen her. She was in love with Adam. Adam was running the camera for me. I live in a very Hispanic neighborhood, and I can speak to this. I'm half Mexican. My dad was like this growing up. Dogs are dogs. They live outside. They don't care for their dogs the way that dog lovers like myself think that the animals should be cared for. I don't mean they don't love them, but they don't get their dogs fixed. So they run around on the streets and they get every other dog knocked up. They constantly are having litters. They don't restrain them, and if they do, they keep them tied up or chained up. So if they're not tied up or chained up, the dogs are honestly getting hit by cars. I picked up a few dogs that have been hit by cars. Anyway, Ducky came to me because there was a litter of puppies that was living outside, so I went to get them, and the neighbor came out and handed me Ducky, and I just became the Chihuahua lady, and I didn't say no. And these guys, whoa, do they have a story. That's Kobe. Kobe lived on a chain up the street. He lived on a chain. And you can see right there, I bumped the leash and I gave him a little poke on the back end, and that didn't faze him. He's super new to the household. He's gonna be adoptable very soon, but he doesn't know any of the rules, and he doesn't know not to react to Adam. So I gave him that little bit of pressure and that little poke, and it didn't really faze him, so I'm not gonna do it again. And what I'm doing is just getting his attention off Adam, and then I'm gonna teach him how to sit down, and I'm gonna reward him with food. Rambo came from a multi-million-dollar no-kill rescue here in Arizona. Something that they did was put him through a training retreat, and that's how I found out about him, because I worked at that training retreat at the time, and I helped with a lot of his training. I knew they were gonna struggle placing Rambo because he resource guards everything. Rambo needed structure the way my human aggressive pit bull needs structure, but everybody thinks he's a lap dog. So I offered my services for free to the rescue. Let me help your new adopter, and let me help you train your staff, because you need to know how to reinforce this stuff. They never took me up on any of it. They paid $3,000 for Rambo to get trained, but they weren't willing to train themselves or new adopters for free. The day I found out they were gonna euthanize Rambo, I called him up and I'm like, what are you doing? Let me help you. Let me help you. Don't euthanize this dog. And the gal just said, I've tried rehoming him 4 times. It's not working, and we have to euthanize him. He's not welcome back at the facility. I told the lady, I said, I have too many dogs. I'm out of time, I'm out of money, and I'm out of room, but I'm not gonna let you kill this dog because you failed. I met them at 2 o'clock that day, and Foothills Animal Rescue never offered me a dime for cleaning up their mess. If you need help with any part of walking your dog or training in general, check out my Leash Foundation class. It's 20 bucks, 7 videos, it's yours forever. That is how I got all of these dogs to stay with me when we go on our pack walks. If this video was helpful for you, like it, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, and remember, if you want a better dog, go for a walk. I'll see you guys in the next video.